All right, guys, we're here with Scott Sharp. He's the head honcho over there at Extreme Speed Motorsports. Welcome to Oversteer TV.
Thanks, Tony. It's good to be on.
Yeah. We're almost about halfway through the season. This is your second full season as a team owner and in the American Le Mans Series. Has it been going pretty much the way you expected it, or has it been a series of surprises?
I'd say overall, yeah, it's gone as I expected. I was very fortunate to grow up in an environment with my father owning his own team. So in many ways, paved me, I think, for a lot of the expectations I've had. And then, of course, ran off driving for other teams for 20 years or whatever. So to come back to it, it's all gone pretty smoothly. I think for us, I'm an extremely competitive individual. I have super high expectations for our team. I feel we've got all of the assets needed to be very successful. And so I'm very anxious to see us do well. And I think at the end of the day, probably the single largest surprise is I just, from an outsider's perspective, underestimated the GT field a little bit. I have to say it's probably one of, and more, many people I think repeat this, it's probably one of the most competitive forms in all of racing. So to think of the caliber of teams, the factory-backed efforts, the support and the development that those teams get, the drivers they have, I mean, it's a tall order to come in and upset them. So we're working really hard to do it, but it's taken us a little longer than we wanted.
For those of you out there who don't know, your father is Bob Sharp, famous Bob Sharp Racing, Nissan's big-time 70s, 80s, one of the great road racing teams in U.S. history. You talk about the competitiveness, how tough it is in the GT field in the American Le Mans Series. When you started this team about a year ago, a little over a year ago, you went with Ferrari. Why Ferrari? Why did you pick that when there were so many you probably could have picked up a turnkey Porsche and been competitive right off the bat.
Well, a couple things. One is Patron obviously enabled me to have the opportunity to even start Extreme Speed Motorsports, and they are clearly the leader in ultra premium spirits. So in that same, they wanted a partner that was at that level, and certainly Ferrari fit that perfectly. Number two is, been around racing long enough, you certainly recognize existing relationships. And, there's already, for example, Porsche. There's already a couple different teams that have long-term, deep roots with Porsche. None of us envisioned ourselves coming in there and being upsetting them or developing a relationship that would be better than what they had, or frankly, probably even getting equal to what they have. So we really looked at where was the best opportunity, and with Ferrari, they were really actively looking for a second strong team. They wanted to equally support both. I knew some of the Ferrari engineers from one of them actually was on my pole-winning effort at Indy a few years, a number of years ago. So it was the ease of conversation flow developed quite quickly, and just all those things stacked up. And we talked to the BMW guys, we talked to a couple other manufacturers, but it just seemed like that gave us the best opportunity to get up to speed the quickest, and it fit with the Patron brand the best.
You talk about the factory support, and we mentioned Porsche. They're huge in sports car racing. Have you been happy with the support the Ferrari guys from Italy have been giving to you, or has it been like a learning curve for both of you guys?
I'd say overall, yes. More of a learning curve for us. The entire team was new, obviously put together over the winter of 09 and 010. None of anybody on the team had ever worked on a Ferrari before. Most of the guys, we have tremendous experience on our team. Indy cars, sports cars. A few guys had some GT experience, but only a few. So it really was a coming together for us, and then a learning of a new car. And fortunately, the 430 we ran last year was in its 5th year of existence last year, so it had pretty well ironed out. It was more an adaptation for ourselves to get used to the car and how the optimum way, the intricate details of setting it up. Now, of course, instead of sort of being able to parlay off that, I really felt the last probably 3 races of last year, we really hit a stride. We finished second at Petit, had good runs at Mosport and a couple of the other races. But instead of being able to sort of capitalize that and grow on that, test that car throughout the winter, once Petit came around, that car was done, and we all waited until basically February to get the new 458, and almost starting that whole cycle again. There's not one interchangeable part between a 430 and a 458, not one. Huh. And so all the suspension's all redesigned. I think it's all positives for sure, and it'll prove to be huge positives. But it's such a different car that it takes different setups. It's learning a whole new car again. So that's really where we find ourselves. But nevertheless, we still need to perform, and we need to win races.
Yeah, well, we're talking about this year. It's not been the most successful year. Let's be honest. You had the problems with Sebring and various races. When you go onto the race, how much does that set you back when you can't finish the race, when you're taken out? Especially a new car like the 458, which you're still developing.
Well, we've been very unfortunate. I really haven't felt like luck's been with us yet. We just, like you said, had a number of contacts, some our own doing, some other people's doings. It was nice at Lime Rock. The 01 car with me and Johannes finally got 4th place, and that was after 2 flat tires. So felt a little bit of justification that all of the efforts of the team is starting to come together. We probably should have finished 2nd or 3rd there without the flats. But the funny thing with the huge Le Mans break, if you didn't go to Le Mans, which we didn't, we've only had 3 races. We've had 3 races with this car. So we're really excited about the upcoming events. Like I said, Mosport it's one of my favorite tracks. We ran really well there last year. So I'm really hopeful that we're about to hit a stride over the next few races where we really start to challenge for podiums and hopefully wins.
Right. America Le Mans is famous for trying to balance out all the cars, especially in the GT class, with different, restrictors and stuff like that. Are you happy with what basically America Le Mans is letting you run?
I think the restrictions that came with the 458, we've been one of the slower cars on the straightaways. So personally, right now, I feel like we're not fast enough. Bottom line, I think it's quite obvious. The BMWs have done a lot of work. They've gotten some good concessions, and they're almost in a class of their own at the moment. The ALMS tightened up their restrictor a little bit going into Mosport. I don't think that's going to really do enough. But you're right. They are managing it. They're always managing the politics and the demands of so many different manufacturers at once. I don't for a second underestimate that job. But at the moment, with all the success the 430 had over the last few seasons, winning a lot of the big races, and the expectations of the 458, I think the ALMS ACO came down pretty hard on the car right out of the box, and it's going to take some time to develop the car to get it quicker. So I think we're a little behind the ball as the rules fall right now.
All right, you're coming up to Mosport now. That's your next race. How does your car fit for that track? You think that track's going to be advantageous to the 458?
It should be, yeah. Like I said, I think we're down a couple mile an hour on the straightaways at the moment, and Mosport's got a very long back straightaway, so that's not optimum. But I'd say the real beauty of the Ferraris is the handling in the corner, especially higher speed corners. And right out of the box last year, the 430 was fast there. Like I said, my common theme here is we're not fully developed yet with the 458, but I still feel that ought to be an advantageous aspect of the car. So by all means, I'm expecting a very good weekend for us.
Well, all right, Scott, we're going to be rooting for you. I have to admit, I'm a Ferrari fan. I'm a Tifosi going way back, so I'm always rooting for you anyway. I want to see you guys up there. I've been talking with Scott Sharp from Extreme Speed Motorsports. Gotta love that team name too. Extreme Speed.
Thanks, it's fun. Hopefully, we'll get more people knowing what Extreme Speed Motorsports is.
Well, we're working on it. And don't forget your sponsor.
Absolutely. Very unfortunate with Patron Tequila. We wouldn't be here without them.
Wait, okay, let me get this straight. You're racing a Ferrari, and your sponsor's Tequila Patron. And explain to us, everybody, why we shouldn't hate you now.
I tell you, I have to pinch myself. I'm very blessed. It's an incredible opportunity that they have afforded me, and that's why with that for me comes even more pressure, to perform the way we want to for them and to win races like I feel we should and need to. So it's a great opportunity. I'm highly respectful of it, but we're a lot of eagerness to get the job done.
Well, you take care of that sponsor. I love the Patron girls and all that stuff at the track, the races. So, all right, Scott Sharp, Extreme Speed Motorsports. Thanks again for coming on Oversteer TV.
Thank you, Tony.